arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Okay, now you repeat after me. Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Turāmeraya majjapamādaṭṭhāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Suramere maccham veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Chatura, thank you very much. On behalf of your friends and everybody, you bravely you said, nicely you said, you are repeating after me. You produce beautifully that Pali language. It's not your language, it's not my language, but it's our scriptural language. So you have to remember that. And I like to, if you don't mind, tell me, answer me. I believe you understand all the meaning of those at least 5 precepts.
Yes.
You do, right?
Yes.
That is, we are promising to ourselves. You are not promising to Buddha Sadhu. You are not promising to me. No, you are not promising to your teacher or anybody else. But simply we remind ourselves every day to practice these things. Purpose of this thing is to understand the meaning and practice them. First one is we promise ourselves not to kill or harm any living being. Is that right? And number 2, maybe you may remember different way, but this is the idea is that. Number 2 is Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhyami. We promise ourselves not to take anything which is not given to us. Or in other words, not only that, to share whatever we have with the other people. That's also an idea. That's something that Buddha Hamru encouraged us. Number 3, Kame Sumichachara. You know we are operated by 5 senses. I think I mentioned before this, but I'll like to remind you. 5 senses and overindulgence. Many of you have become very greedy when you see something nice or hear something nice. So we attach to it. That is not, Buddha was not happy about it. He didn't appreciate it. He did say, be moderate. Little by little, we must be able to let go of this. As we become mature, as we understand. So slowly, slowly we can let go of, those indulgence. So number four is not to misuse, deceive other people verbally. In other words, we are lying to others. Meaning of lying is to deceive other people. That is not even right thing to do. Why should we deceive another person? When we do that, they do not trust us. So that is going to be very bad, bring us a bad result. Nobody trusts us. Nobody would like us. So therefore, we must be able to remember that. And number five is not to take an intoxicant. Intoxication is not nice either. Once intoxicated mind get intoxicated, we cannot see anything. We cannot we get blind. We cannot see right from wrong. So therefore, tendencies that we may be doing wrong things. We make wrong decisions. So that is not nice. So that's not beneficial for us. So therefore, Buddha sadhu, these are for anybody. Doesn't have to be a Buddhist to practice these things. These are for anyone. These are universal principles, good for anyone to practice. Anybody who would like to be spiritual, so they can practice these things. They should practice these things. So today, what I thought was to share with something also nice. Also, it's connect with these five basic principles. There is something that we call in the teachings of the Buddha Sadhu, 4 ways of kind treatment. 4 ways of treating nicely to other people. What are they? I think you may know these things. One is, I would say Pali words first. Dhamma, what we call as generosity. Sharing. Hospitality. Caring. And giving. So these are the words that goes with that. Dhamma. It's all of you very familiar with that. But there are also differences. I like to, those are the parts I like to share with you, bring into your attention. The other one, Priyavachana, pleasant word, truthful word, meaningful words, Priyavachana in Pali. The other one is called Arthacharya. Arthacharya. What is that? That is meaningful livelihood. Very meaningful way of living. And the next one is called Samanatata. Equality. We are equal. I think these are very, very important things for us to learn and for us to adjust our lives accordingly. Then we are living in the dhamma. Then we are living according to the teachings of the Buddha Sadhu. But one day, I'll tell you a story related to that. There are many stories related to this. I will bring it, lightly. I will share with you. There was a king in the Alavi, Hattalavada. One day, when Buddhuhamru was living, Buddhuhamru he didn't stay in one place. He moved from village to village, town to town, state to state. During the Buddha Sadhu's time, there were 16 states. In these 16 states, so he was traveling. I cannot remember if he traveled in every one of them, but somehow he traveled far and wide to share the Dhamma. We call it Dhamma Dana. So Buddha Sadhu was traveling. He knew that there are people who can understand it. So then he started moving around, sharing it, helping people to live accordingly. And they're really great to help people. Otherwise, today we don't have this Dhamma, what we're talking today. We may not know what is right thing. We may not, people like today, maybe we don't have very, kindness. So Buddha Sadhu's teaching, all of your parents, they go to temple and, you dana, that's very familiar. Dana is very much, you are in your life. But there are parts that I want to share later. But however, in the story of Buddha, the particular story that I was about to start, when Buddha Sadhu was in the particular town, this Hattalavaka prince or the king came to see Buddhahamdru. Wherever he goes, people start gathering. By that time, they have heard, but they have not seen. Whenever they heard, oh, Buddhahamdru is visiting our town today. So everybody was making big effort to go and see the Buddha Sadhu. And in this particular story also, same thing happened. The king did not come by himself. He came with 500 other men, his followers, his friends, having seen the Buddha Sadhu. So he started talking to the king. And he asked, wow, so much of people here. Yes, Venerable Sir, these are my colleagues or my friends or the people that I was company with, associate with. Oh, how do they treat them? Sadhu asked. Then he explained it to him. I treat them wherever, whenever I see someone who needs something. As they need things, I do provide those things. There are people with so much of needs, so then I take care of them. I help them out. I'm treating them very nicely, kindly, generously. And I also treat them equally. Sometimes I sit with them and eat with them, even though I'm king. I'm king when I'm in that position. When I do work, that's it. I'm doing as how a leader should be doing. But other times, they are like me. So I do. We all need. There are times we all need certain things. There are needs everybody does not have. Everything that they think of. So therefore, I do take care of their needs. And we sit down together. Sometimes we sit down and eat together. So this kind of conversation had gone through in the meeting of the Buddha and those with the people and the king. Oh, hearing it, the Buddha said, oh, it's very nice. That's very kind. That is how should a king or a leader of the town, leader of the village, leader of the home, anybody who is a leader, he should have these qualities in his life. Then he's providing right services. So Buddha was happy with that conversation and having meet with him. So he guided him more. He enriched him more with generous thoughts and the compassionate thoughts. He benefited from that, and the people of the country is benefiting from that. Now, similarly, so what we hear in that is generosity. First one I mentioned was generosity. Or we can see, as I mentioned earlier, a few words. Generous person. You are, whatever we have, when we see someone who needs, so we must be able to help them out. Of course, we know that you are bringing food to the monks at the temple. That is also dana. But that's not only dana. Suppose even we observe 5 precepts. When we observe 5 precepts, that helps people. You are a good practitioner of them. Then what happens? If you're really practicing it, from you, nobody would be afraid of for anything. You are not taking anything which is not given to us. You are not hurting any being, so they are not afraid of you. And anybody, any friend of yours or anybody, even a stranger, if you come to know that you are, good practitioner, so they will leave anything. Their, bag, their computer, whatever they have brought. So without fear. So what are you giving there is, we call it abhayadana. Bhaya, no bhaya. Abhaya means no bhaya, fearlessness. We are offering fearlessness. I think it's very great, if you do, by practicing our basic principles, this is what you become. Even that's going to be a kind of dana. And also share with your friend the dhamma that you know. You are practicing together. Then what do you call that one? That is dhamma dana. It's not easy. When we think of it, we come to know about this. Dhamma dana, you're offering fearlessness, and we are offering what else? Anything that we can think of. Very generously, even though you never think about it. Things, but it could be very minor something. Suppose what we have learned is, suppose you eat something and you wash your hand. Maybe whatever you are washing off from your hand, the small piece of food, that could be a food to a tiny little being. If you think of, if there's any kind of this juiciness, that washing off from my spoon or my plate may be a food to a tiny little beings who are there that I cannot see. That is also another kind of dana. Dana is not only one thing. There are many, many different ways that we can think of it. So generosity we can practice in everyday life. Only thing what you need is your intention, your mind. So it's very important. Now, even when you're talking to someone, suppose now you are sharing some information. You're not hiding it. What you learn from maybe something that you learn in your school, maybe another friend of yours or even a colleague, your classmate, couldn't attend the class that day. And what you do? Very generously, you think of, oh, the next young boy who is in my class, because of his illness or due to some reason, he couldn't make it yesterday. So I should share what we learned from our teacher, what my teacher guided. I think some of you do that. You take care of your friend who did not attend the school that day. So when we do that, that is very generous thought. Why? You don't have some children, they cannot do it. They are jealous. Some jealousy feelings are rising in their mind. This is strange. But didn't teach, Amma didn't teach to be jealous, for you to be jealous, or somebody else didn't. But where are we bringing those things? Those are negative skills, negative emotions. Where are they coming from? I believe we are bringing those kinds of things we have been practicing in our past lives, maybe. They get connected without much effort. But we should know those are not something positive. So therefore, I should let go of them. I should practice the way that Buddha is asking us to be kind, generous, compassionate. So with those, so we must be able to share the dhamma, share those information, which is important in student's life. The child who is going to school, he should be knowing them. If we thoughtfully, if you can share that, even without asking, thinking, oh, he couldn't make it, so I should let him know. These are the homeworks that we have to do. And that's another kind of dana. You have no jealous, you are sharing it. Very important. So that is called, we are giving, sharing our knowledge. And also you are practicing generosity in that particular incident. You are practicing your kindness. You are practicing your compassion. So these are hard things, but if you practice, little by little, they become strong. That's how Buddhism became such a strong person in those virtues. He did practice. Knowing it, since he practiced it, he always said, come and see, means practice it and see for yourself. You don't have to believe what I say. I think that's what you have learned, those things. Buddha said that. In that way, we are good practitioners. We are not practicing to show off the world, but it's important. Practicing important. By practicing so, we become perfect. To bring ourselves in perfectness, we have to do that. So keep that in mind. And then we come to number 2, dana, priyavachana. Priyavachana, pleasant words. There are 4 kinds of verbal mistakes we can do. What are they? What are the 4? Musavada. I will tell you Pali words first. Musavada, parusavacha, pisunavacha, sampappalapa. So in this culture, you may hear lies and gossips. You put everything into the gossip category. But in the Buddha's teaching, there are 4 verbal mistakes we can do. Musavada, we lie to our friends, to anybody, to your mom sometimes because of fear, or could be it is because of fear. You didn't want to say it, so you are hiding something from them. Or maybe you are using a white lie to hide something from your friend, or from your brother, or from your sister. But we should continue to practice those things. As much as possible, we must be able to let go of those our weaknesses. Because our idea is to become perfect. So come to our perfectness in this area. Slowly, 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 as we come to see it, as we notice things, we have to let go of them, which is not necessary. We should not continue. All the good things, we should be continuing. So, musavada, now we know. Parusavacha, parusha, harsh, rude, impolite. abusive language we call parusavacha. We should not use abusive language. It hurts. So if someone says something to you, if it hurts you, so don't use such words to another person. We should not using it. So we should be staying away from abusive language. And also in this country, if you abuse someone, so they even, can take you to the court. Verbal harassment, they call it. So therefore, that's also something you have a right. Since they did not know this spiritual principle guidelines, they didn't have it with them. Therefore, but we have it, knowing it. If you don't practice, there's no meaning having it. If you do practice, so you have better chance. So you don't abuse anybody. So everybody likes to hear pleasant words, pleasing. That's very pleasing. When you hear the truth, it's very pleasing. So we must be used very pleasant words, not abusive language. So parusavacha, pisuna you may not know it, but maybe in professional field, your parents perhaps know. We should not. That's why they don't reveal anything about me or about you to another person. Only the person, especially in professional field like hospitals, they do not give out your information. They do not give out my information to anybody else. That is not right, because we are not talking about other people. By talking and knowing it, so we may spreading rumors. That is not nice. You have to be very careful with talking about other people. So mindfully we have to work everyday life, and we do not repeat what we heard from another person. So that could make a big, huge problems. We could split two people. So we maybe if you do that intentionally, you are doing it with malicious thought, because you don't want them to be friendly. You have kind of jealousy feeling. So they are so good friends, and your jealousy arises in me. I may tell, something that as if that person has told, or he told me this, which he did not tell. So if you do that kind of thing, that is called kelam kino, pisuna vacha. So that could create big, huge problem. So therefore, we have to be very careful, very, very careful about these things. And sampapalapa, nobody is going to benefit from that. Frivolous talk. So when you get together, what do? You keep talking. At the end, by the time you are getting ready to go home, wow, you had been talking, killing your time, such a long time, but nothing was important thing that you had discussed. None of those things that both of you spoke, not going to benefit. You are not going to benefit from that. So therefore, we have to be very mindful what we talk. Verbal mistakes. There are 4 verbal mistakes that we all do wrong or right doings in 3 different ways. One is physical action, and the number two is verbal action. Number three is mental action, thinking. So that way, this is how we are active. This is how we do either do nice things or the wrong things. So therefore, so today I just mentioned here in the second step as Priyavachana. But instead of Priyavachana, these are the other things we're supposed to practice very pleasant words, but we are doing these four kinds of verbal mistakes. So we have to be very mindful not to do that. So not doing so, we become a nicer spiritual person. You are developing your spiritual energy. You know, in the history, sometimes maybe your parents know, these kings, there were kings. As I said, Hattalavaka, he did practice. And similarly, in history, if you learn the history of Sri Lanka, there were people, even the Bodhisattva stories, Bodhisattva also did develop these qualities by practicing. What he practiced is the thing that he has, later as a Buddha teaching us as the dhamma, his own experiences. He didn't learn it from the books. He didn't learn it from the other teachers. These are all his experiences that he was sharing with us. Now, number three. What is number three? There are four things. Four sublime, not the sublime state, but four beautiful ways of treating. So that's what we were talking about. And in that, treating other people. So other thing that his use was arthacharya, meaningful livelihood. Meaningful livelihood. So we should be doing that. From our life, we shouldn't do anything which is harming other people. So we already know that. We promise, we are observing 5 precepts. First one is not to kill. So by practicing not to kill, we already have started a good way of living. Meaningful life. Not hurting other people, but providing other people. Suppose there are people who is having difficulties in their lives. When you see that, you must be able to understand, and if you could, if you have means, you must be able to share. That's again going to be part of the dana. Buddha already mentioned that. You have to take care of the people of the country as a king. When I see that, I remember there were stories in ancient time. There are several kings. What they did was, as a good leaders, good rulers of the country, they did not just stay in the palace. They did not just go for, fighting, thinking of expanding their territory. There were sometimes they had wars, but mostly what they did was sometimes there were some ministers who just, praised them so much, but he did not want to just believe it and be in the palace. What he did was, during the night time, he disguised as a normal person, and he go in the town or go in the village and listen to people, what they talk. By the night time, of course, it's dark, so they close the doors, but inside they talk things. If anybody was talking bad of the king, he never punished. He wanted to see if he's doing right, or if there are anybody in trouble in the town, knowing it, finding it, he wanted to find a remedy for those. So that's how he lived. So those are righteous kings. Those good rulers, that's how they wanted to find out if you have that done enough. If it's not doing enough, how can I do? What else can I do? One day, there are many stories, not one actually. One night he heard, I think that should be the King Gajaba perhaps. He went likewise and he was listening to the just passing by, listening, and somebody was crying inside the home. He put a mark on the door. Next day, he sent his people who is serving to him, and such a street, there is should be a home in such corner or some location he knew, he remembered. And then there was a mark on the door. Go and bring this person, bring this woman. So the person, royal minister, he went and he brought. And he wanted to ask the person, last night you were crying. For what reason did you cry? Then she answered, I had my son, I miss him because last time those people came and took our children away from us. And now, hearing that, then he went back courageously. And I think in the history, your parents know that. He went, invaded the part of the India territory and brought those people back and also some other people from that country. So such things happen in the ancient times. Or as there were sometimes certain kings, how, spiritual he wanted to be. He didn't want to do things for, we do especially in the cut. This is in Vassana retreat season. So your parents are like to participate in the Katina ceremony, maybe in next month or following month. And this particular king, he didn't want to get things from the people and do it, but he wanted to do something like people, as people doing. They do by themselves, hard working. They do the, field cultivation, collection of the, resources like rice maybe, or the other vegetables maybe. He did do by himself, and he wanted to collect this, something by himself and make offerings to sangha to participate in this, ceremony, or provide clothes for the monks, whatever. So this way, he disguised and go out and did things, and also he was listening to people's comment, and also he did collect the resources, and then he used it to offer. So it is not like today, some rulers, they just, bring things from the other people and offer it. That is not something, very pleasant thing for him. He wanted to do it by myself. So that is called, we do things using our own energy and physically using our strength, physically using my labor. So you can be very happy. I did by myself. I did cook this food by myself, so I'm offering it. Likewise, this is how ancient time people, how devoted they were, how much saddha they had. So it's very important thing. So, and that's a meaningful life. and also in your life. So you must be able to, there are a lot of people who need support, and you do help them. And also you guide them in right path. So provide them whatever they need. Emotional well-being and physical well-being. As a king must be able to provide those things. As a leader must be able to do it. Whatever the amount you have, you must be able to provide those to, you know, help out those people to make it easy for them to make easy their lives. I think that's important. In certain countries, including Sri Lanka, it's not happening. It's sad to say. People's life are every day getting, instead of getting better and better, it's getting worse and worse. They are living in pain. So leaders should be understand these painful situations. So that is meaningful livelihood. Next one, the fourth, dane, priyavachane, arthacharya samanattata. Equally. We are all equal. If we can think, because sometimes person who is having power, having wealth, they may be thinking they are very important. Others are not important. That is not true. We all are important. Every being is important. So everybody's life is important. So we must be able to see it. Due to ignorance, some people, they don't see it. It is so sad. It is so sad that people, when they are in the power, they misuse, they abuse their power. That is not right. We must be, according to Buddha's way, you must be compassionate. You must be practicing metta, loving kindness. And when you do practice these things, definitely you have to put them into practice and treat everybody equally. That is why that the king Hattalavaka, he did sit down with the people, even though I am the king. When he is in the throne, he is the king. He is doing what is king supposed to do. But in the other time, he considered himself as one of the others. So therefore, he was not arrogant. He was not conceited. With conceit, arrogance, these things, what he said, is a, you thinking you are important, not the others. I think very bad attitude. That's ignorance. So we must be able to treat other people. We must be able to learn other people's where they are. Not everybody in equally, same level. So therefore, leaders should be able to understand that. Treating equally, find out their needs and treat them. So that's called samanattata. Saman, equal. So if we knowing that, if you can take care of the people, then you are a righteous person. Righteous man. So in that way, we definitely become as leaders, they do become righteous leaders, doing the right thing. It's duty, in other words. Leaders have a duty to do because leaders are elected by people. So they should. But what happens some places, when people elect someone, but after they elect, before they elect, they come like, paying, please, please, please. But after people, because of people's choice, they come into power, and then they have to go after them to get anything done, even for as a community. It's very bad, very sad situation in those countries. how when they are, that is also kind of intoxication. They are intoxicated by power. They are intoxicated by emotions. So they think that they are important people. That's wrong. They shouldn't be doing that. They must be able to think in terms of people, and they must be able to understand the pain of those people. So they must do something for enhance those people's lives. Today, people have in this political, especially people who come to power to help out people, enhance people's lives. They don't do it. Very sad thing. Very sad thing. So there are 4 children. We must remember these 4 things: generosity and pleasant words. So 4 verbal mistakes we should be doing. So nicely, generously, compassionately, we must be talking, communicating with each other. We must become trustworthy people, maintain our trust. Number 3, meaningful way of righteous livelihood. Uh, equality. So very important. These are the 4 qualities that we should be practicing, adding up to our lives, and we should be living that life. So that way we can be nicer, spiritual practitioners. You're not doing any of these things to show off to the world, but your inner mind, inner yourself is wanted to spiritually enhance yourself. So that way we are practicing dhamma. We are living according to the Buddha's teaching. So I wish all of you have the strength and courage. And I'm going to stop now because I want you to ask questions. I don't want to leave questions. You may have any kind of question. It doesn't hurt me. I can answer, I can explain why I said those things. And today, Ms. Malini Drivira is invited to give this Dhamma sharing or Dhamma Dana to dedicate message to late Mr. Gamini Drivira, and also bless Arya. Arya's 10th birthday is so nice. She was thinking of all of you on the birthday of Arya. I believe Arya is also there somewhere listening. And even Arya, if he has anything, I don't know if I said some strange things, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask now. Before we do the dedication, we will be saying Gatha at the end. And before that, I'm giving you this opportunity to ask questions. Okay, I'm ready. Chatur, I saw you. So you can ask questions if you have.
The see, yesterday I went to the mall and I bought when my mom bought us some cake.
Okay.
But I didn't want to share the cake with my dad. So what can I do to stop that?
You have to keep that in mind. This is not a good practice. You have to advise yourself. Chatura, your behavior is not right. You must share whatever you have with the other people, especially you have within the charity begins at home. So you can start that to share with your dad, share with your mom, share if you have a sister and brother, share with everybody. Now you have to find out why didn't I do. You have to ask her why didn't I do share with my dad? Is that for reason? If there's a good reason for it, was I greedy, or is it something because my dad doesn't have to eat the sweet things? What was it? So you have to figure it out. Okay? Somebody else shouldn't be push your buttons, do this or do that. You, whenever you, now you know this is your weakness, right? When you weakness means you become kind of greedy. You didn't want to share that, sweet, nice cake. So then you advise yourself, oh, I have done this before. From hereafter, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to share whatever I have with my, especially within my family first. If there's any leftover, I would be sharing with my friends and anybody else. Okay? Thank you. I'm very happy that you brought it up. Your own weakness, you saw it. It's good that you shared it.
Wait, I also have another question.
Sure.
So my exams are near, but I don't want to study. And my mom says that I should keep on studying, but every time she says that, I don't want to do it, even though I was so close to doing it. What should I
Okay.
do?
Now, see now. Can you pass the exam without studying? No? Then she doesn't have to push you, but you have to understand and you have to start working on it. Right? You are kind of retaliating with your mother. Mother is trying to help you. He's reminding you you are procrastinating. Now, it is not a good habit. So she wants you to start working. And she is very kind because later on she knows that you are going to cry. Oh, I couldn't do this. So as result is that if you delay things, postpone things, you are the one who is suffering. So that suffering coming from your behavior, not Amma's behavior. So therefore, you determine to change them. You have to start working. There's no other way. Okay? So start working on it. Get rid of your weakness. You are the one to correct. Amma can remind you, Tata can remind you, but you are the one to work on. All right? Anybody else? Okay, if as anybody else does not have questions, maybe let us do the dedication of merit because we have observed Panchasila, 5 precepts, and then we, at least I think some things reminded you for children. Maybe these things could be, new, or you must have known it, or we are refreshing it. Either way, that's helpful for us to learn Dhamma and practice them in everyday life. By sharing Dhamma, giving the Dhamma Dana, whatever the merit that we develop, let us share it with our late relative, especially Gamini Edrivir. And also there could be many friends who are connected to our lives. May they rejoice this wholesomeness. May they rejoice this wholesome energy. May they be well, happy, and peaceful wherever they may be. May they all attain, may he attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Having such thoughts, please recite Gatha together with me to do the dedication of merit. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. So let us share the merits with Devas. Please recite together with me. Akasattha cha bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanam. Akasattha cha bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanam. ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤං තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං. And also, now I like to say recite Gatha to bless upon Arya. Arya, we wish Arya very happy birthday, very bright future. Wishing so. Let me say the Gatha. I know you will be doing this at the temple, Florida Buddhist Vihara with Ananda Hamdro and the Upananda Hamdro and everybody else. They may be blessing you, but I like to, being far away, I like to recite Gatha, wishing good health, prosperity, longevity, happiness, and bright future for you, having good friends around you. May you be very successful in your education. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Please receive the blessings now, all of you. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti meva chato nibbana sampatti minate samijjatu. එහෙනම් තෙරුවන් සරණයි හැම දිනාටම. ආනන්ද හාමුදුරුවන්ටයි අපේ උපනන්ද හාමුදුරුවෝ පන්සලේ හාමුදුරුවෝ හැම දිනාටම බොහෝම පිං. අවස්ථාවක් සලසා දුන්නට පොඩි ළමයින්ට කතා කරන්න. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි.